Meghan Markle's name is trending once more, which is shocking, but this time it's not because of a new project or public appearance that won over the media. Instead, everything is rapidly going south. It all began with an Instagram video that she likely believed would be her big break, but it backfired badly, sending executives into a panic and forcing studios to retreat, fans to jump ship, and executives to panic about Meghan's career or whatever was left of it. Sold their souls, and they sold Harry's family down the river. It's unforgivable, and it will leave a bitter taste in the mouths of millions of people. I know that at least one of the PAs was frequently brought to tears by Meghan Markle's bullying, and if Meghan doesn't believe she did bully, then she could sue me because I've already said it. Let's go back a bit. Meghan posted a video that was meant to be this empowering, enjoyable, relatable moment about motherhood. That's how she pitched it. At least she wanted to show the world her sense of humor and her perspective on being a POW. The whole thing had this cringe thyroid energy, complete with awkward dance moves, and what appeared to be a baby bump that had more questions than answers. People weren't laughing with her, instead they were raising eyebrows and asking what the hell they just watched. The backlash came quickly, and it wasn't just random trolls. Actual executives at companies like Netflix and Paramount panicked, taking over the streaming service where Meghan had her documentary series with Love Meghan. Unexpectedly found itself in the midst of a PR storm. According to reports, Ted Sarandon, who is often more understanding of Meghan, was beginning to doubt things, and Greg Peters, the CEO, wasn't having it and was pushing back hard behind the scenes. Supporting a famous figure through controversy is one thing, but when that issue casts your entire platform in a negative light, it's quite another. While other studios are either ignoring her or gradually retreating, Paramount wasted no time in severing all relations with her, attempting to avoid being enmeshed in the drama cloud that has been following her lately. It seems like everyone has finally realized that whatever magic she possessed when she first came to prominence is simply gone. And this video didn't help. In fact, it confirmed what many people had already begun to whisper, that Meghan Markle's public image is no longer an asset but a liability. Now that she's Meghan, she didn't just remain silent, she doubled down. In the midst of all this chaos, she released a statement attempting to explain the entire purpose behind the video. She claims that it was about proving herself to the world, especially to critics who questioned her abilities as a mother. She claimed that motherhood had not taken away her personality or sense of humor, that she still had fun and had something to say, and that she deserved to be heard. However, the problem is that just because you say something with conviction, it doesn't mean that people will believe you. The internet saw a woman trying too hard to be both quirky and inspirational at the same time, and it didn't work. In fact, it backfired so badly that even fans who had previously defended her, you could practically hear people thinking, wait, this is what we've been supporting. And now with Love Meghan Season 2 hanging by a thread as they began to scratch their heads. Meghan may still think she's here to teach the world something, but it's beginning to look like the world isn't really in the mood to listen. The strangest thing about all of this is how test screenings reportedly ruined the reaction, making it worse than lukewarm. Some called it downright uneatable. Netflix is freaking out because even her core fan base doesn't seem interested anymore. In her most recent public statements, Meghan Markle seemed to be persuaded that she is the misunderstood hero in a heartwarming tale of maturation. She presented the entire pregnancy video controversy as a public service, saying things like motherhood is powerful and that too many people lose their joy and humor after having children. Out of all my friends, she decided to represent joyful, carefree parenting in a society full with grumpy grown-ups, which is a universal human predicament, who are now mothers. I cannot recall anyone who has stated, oh wow, it's exactly what I expected. I'm nailing it, it's so good. I know exactly what I'm doing, and this child has fitted seamlessly into my pre-existing life, which has required no changes at all. Noble, certainly, but only if it had gone as she had hoped. Instead of connecting with parents, it alienated them. Rather than coming across as empowering, it felt self-centered and gave off a tone-deaf sense. What Meghan fails to understand is that her audience isn't interested in lectures, abstract messages wrapped in a surreal Instagram performance, or someone who lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion and tries to pretend that she's just another struggling mother trying to figure things out in real time. It's not just ordinary people who've had enough, either behind closed doors or in public. Greg Peters is apparently incensed at Netflix and has been working hard to separate the company from Meghan completely. But the issue is, according to insiders, the board is divided, and Ted Sarandon, who has been far more forgiving of her for reasons no one really understands, is still supporting her involvement even if he is beginning to falter under pressure. The worst part is that Meghan isn't backing down. Rumor has it that she's frantically trying to shop around, apparently pitching ideas to both MTV and Disney in the hopes that one of them will take a chance on her next big idea. Some want to cancel season 2 completely, while others want to wait and see if public opinion magically shifts. A year ago, this initiative would have been successful, but now that everything has transpired, most executives are probably too scared to even answer her calls. The industry is aware that she has changed from being a cultural talking point to a professional risk, and to make matters worse, fans are abandoning her in greater numbers. Those who once supported her online by reposting her interviews and applauding her for being genuine are now removing their posts and abandoning her, which is a warning sign that no public relations team can ignore. Even on social media, her posts are receiving comments that used to be full of heart emojis and "You Queen" energy are now calling her out for being fake, preachy, or out of touch. They also keep asking, but nobody wants to say it aloud, what happened to that baby bump? People online couldn't stop pointing out how strange it looked, how the shape kept changing, how the positioning seemed off, and conspiracy theories went viral. Was it real or a stunt? Whatever the truth is, it didn't help her case. Rather than boosting confidence or sympathy, it made people uncomfortable. Meghan's defiance hasn't slowed down, on the contrary. If anything, she's more vocal than ever. She recently went on a podcast-style monologue with no interviewer or questions, just her. And once people start doubting your honesty, the damage spreads quickly through it all. Meghan keeps insisting that this is her truth, that this is how she expresses herself, and that nobody is trying to silence her. The problem is that nobody wants to hear it anymore. The narcissism alarm bells really started to ring when she began talking into a microphone for almost an hour, and in typical Meghan fashion, began referring to herself in the third person. "The world hasn't seen the real Meghan yet," she said, as if she were setting up some sort of character arc. Instead of responding to the criticism with humility or self-awareness, she leaned into the narrative that everyone else is wrong and simply doesn't get it. She also reaffirmed her belief that it is her mission to teach others how to raise children properly, as if parenting advice from somehow a gated estate, a nanny staff, and media handlers speak to regular parents balancing 3 jobs and dropping their kids off at public schools. Her message may have been more effective if it had been even slightly relatable, but in reality, it came off as someone attempting to maintain relevance rather than to offer assistance. What's worse is the tension that exists behind the scenes with Netflix. According to reports, Meghan is lobbying Ted Serenades to approve a 3rd season of With Love Meghan, despite the fact that the 2nd one has already aired and is in problems. Although there is no concrete evidence, some people are guessing that she and Ted are involved in more than just a business arrangement. Sources claim that she is using every piece of leverage she possesses to keep the series alive. Craig Peters is apparently mobilizing Netflix's board to reduce their losses from a business standpoint, which makes sense given that the season 2 test screenings were a complete failure and fans characterized the episodes as tone-deaf and empty, including Meghan's clothes. Most devoted fans weren't impressed because it's a huge red flag for a streaming behemoth like Netflix to keep funding a show that can't even retain its core audience. Now that they're caught in this awkward limbo between public opinion and loyalty politics outside of boardrooms, things don't seem to be getting any better. When the people who once supported your story now treat you like tabloid fodder, Meghan's public image is taking a serious hit. Late-night shows have begun to use her as a punchline, and internet reaction is harsh. Even the media outlets that previously supported Meghan's every step are retreating. Usually it marks the start of the end. The unfortunate thing is that she still thinks this is a comeback story and acts as though the world is being cruel and that things will change eventually. However, the more she talks, the more harm she causes. There isn't a planned redemption arc developing or an unexpected surge of sympathy on the horizon. Instead, what is happening is more akin to a slow collapse. A public breakdown of a person who doesn't read the room, followed by the subtly approaching release of season 2 of With Love Meghan. No actual promotion, just this quiet no glitz. According to rumors, Meghan has put her all into the new season of Netflix in an attempt to reintroduce herself. But let's face it, if the response to her viral video is any indication, no amount of rebranding will change what people already believe. Sometimes, when the public moves on, they really move on. And at the moment, it seems like Meghan Markle is shouting into a void that no one is listening to anymore. Netflix seems hesitant, as if they're preparing for impact.